Welcome to Rags to Riches, the Ironman gear progression tailored specifically to completing the Chambers of Xerix challenge mode raid solo. From the scuffed early game Ironman gear to the endgame best in slot items, we will be recreating our gear progression by changing and upgrading gear between each raid that we complete. You don't need a twisted bow to begin doing challenge mode raids, but it certainly is a lot more fun when you do have one. Basically, we're going to be using gear from our first solo CM, and we're going to upgrade as we did back then. So at some point, we're going to have Ancestral, and much later, we're going to have the Scythe, the Shadow, and some other gear. But for right now, this very first one, this is what we're rocking with. Let's get started here. Here's the pre-pot Divine Super Combat. Although, you know what? I think technically I didn't use Divines back then either. I was just stingy and didn't realize how good Divines were. Anyways, let's head in the first solo CM in gear as similar as possible to what we actually used back then. We even have the Dragon Warhammer. I think we did have an Elder Maw, but obviously back then the Elder Maw didn't actually serve as a spec weapon. I did use the Elder Maw, however, though, because I wasn't very familiar with this 5-tick method with the Fang, which actually is better than the Elder Maw, if I'm not mistaken. It might depend on how many hammer specs you land. I forgot. No, I did summon a Thrall. Okay. Also, I guess to point out a couple more changes. My Fang kit, well, I didn't have a Fang kit. I had Primordials instead of Dragon Boots. I had a Dragon Defender instead of a Vernic. The Blood Moon Tassets, we're going to pretend those are the Bandos Tassets. I didn't have an Inferno Cape yet, so Fire Cape is accurate. And same thing with the Range Cape. I did have an assembler, the kitted TOA assembler. And if we want to be real particular, I wasn't maxed yet at this point, so technically that should be a regular MA2 cape, a regular TOA backpack. Alright, right away this Tecton is so much slower, even with the guaranteed Tecton first hammer spec now. Which wasn't the case back then. Another thing is, back then I did have to bring 3 stamina pots into these solo CMs. But I think now I can probably get away with the 2. Alright, let's take the Overload and Enhance. I may need this Revitalization, honestly. I don't quite remember, so, yeah, I'll take that with me just in case. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do like a little mini-series with this. Alright, with the Bofa, I don't need to put on a quiver or anything like that to save my ammo, so that's nice. Why are these crabs not cooperating with me right now? Oh, that's unfortunate. Alright, how bad is this gonna be? It's been a long time since I did 4-1 melee hand and 3-0 mage hand, especially the 3-0 mage hand part, I think. I think our objective here is to simply not die. Another little change here is that I do bring an anti-venom in with me instead of pre-potting it. I think these raids, this beginning section, used to take me a long time. I mean, you saw that Tecton took over 2 minutes, so I think it makes sense there. Oh, you know what's going to be great here, though? Scavving isn't going to be overly expensive. So, okay, I think I can drink the anti-venom here as I scav. But I can just simply use my Fang to scav instead of blasting shadow charges. I think I'm gonna roll with the same prep numbers because in max gear, when I prep 13 juice, 8 mushrooms, that is an over prep, but it's just easy to do. I think I'm gonna roll with the same thing here. Alright, so we definitely have enough stuff now. Take those planks for extra points though, you know? Oh, scavving also used to take a long time. They really did a huge QOL with scavs, and it's much easier to get resources now and planks and whatnot. Much better. But back then, it could take literal minutes, if not the entire overload duration, to get what you needed. Oh, let's chop some kindling here. Or chop the saplings to get kindling. I wonder what time we're going to get now. These solo CMs back then probably took me like 50 minutes, no exaggeration. And if we're accounting for the fact that we were still learning the raid at this point, the solo CMs, I think it did take me an hour, if not more than an hour for the very first few ones. Then as I got more comfortable, even when I became a little bit more proficient, just because of how little damage I did, it still took me like 50 minutes. And then as we got upgrades, we brought it down into the 40s, the mid 40s probably. And then with the QOL changes, I think ever since then, it's been like sub 40s. But if you didn't know, the solo CM challenge mode time is an hour and 10 minutes, I believe. It's either it's either an hour and 5 or an hour 10. I think hour and 10 sounds right. So you have ample time. Let's take out our gear. What do I need? Or what do I don't need? Okay, I can bank my mage gear. Bank that, bank that. Oh, I want a hammer spec. Oh, and there were several different ways of doing Ice Demon back then. Let me see if I can recall how to do this melee method. For the longest time, I did Bofa it, but upon having a Fang and learning this Fang method here, the Fang is better DPS than Bofa-ing the boss, I believe. And Ice Demon was not Demon Bane, weak to Demon Bane. I mean, that was a very recent change. So about 2 years ago, this was definitely not the case. I'm just trying to think of how many times I've probably done this right here, this very click-intensive melee Ice Demon method. Oh, man. So in these raids, I had been camping the light bear. I didn't bring a ring switch, which, you know, in hindsight, I really wish I did much earlier, but it wasn't until much later when I realized how good bringing a ring switch was. That ring switch would have been the Berserker ring. I didn't have an Altor or Desert Treasure 2 stuff at the point. You know what? I'm not sure if Desert Treasure 2 existed. When did Desert Treasure 2 come out? I don't know. Either way, though, I did not have the rings. Another thing is that you may have noticed that I don't have any spec weapons. I think the Dragon Claws was one of those things where I didn't get until much later. I did get it in a regular chambers, I know that much. I actually did not get my first Dragon Claws in a challenge mode, despite primarily running challenge modes at this point now. So yeah, no Dragon Claws and definitely no Zerite crossbow, so I just didn't have a spec weapon. You know what I failed to do actually, and hopefully this is not an issue. I have no idea how many charges are in any of my weapons or armor. Like I don't know how charged my crystal armor is. My bow is corrupted, so we don't have to worry about that. I don't know how many charges are in my trident, and oh my goodness, did we use a lot of charges back then. The Vespula, we're gonna have to range Vespula with the Bofa, and man, did that eat a lot of crystal charges. And then, I mean, we're just blasting our Trident of the Swamp 24/7 at home, so a lot of charges there too. Hopefully everything is charged up, but honestly, I have no idea. Oh, and another thing that we can't change right now is obviously our thrall time. We have a longer thrall time now. But there's just nothing I can do about that, right? Oh, I got smacked. Please. Nobody panic. Okay, let's pick up the Buchu. Alright, I'm fairly confident we can still do a 13-8 prep. It's gonna be a little unfortunate if that's not the case. We'll find out, though. Oh, we just hit 84 thieving. I just tried to drop my Averting Defender. Oops. How long have we not had our prayer enhance running? Okay, so this 13-8 prep, I did used to prep way more brews, and I think the restores is always about the same, but I did used to prep more brews, but we're gonna roll with 13 brews, 8 restores now. And we're gonna do that for all of the raids that we're gonna do in the different setups. Unless it's proven that we have to adjust, but this is what we're rocking with for right now. Okay, there's the 8 revits. We'll put those away, take out all our vials. And you know what? I think I messed up here. I have 4 extra vials, I believe. Yes, I did. Typically, I drop 4 vials, and I clearly didn't do that, so I'm going to do that now. The reason I dropped 4 vials is to make the exact amount of room I need to get all 13 Buchus in my inventory, along with 13 vials. There we go, that should be 13 Buchu. Let's head on next to the into the next room as we make these brews. Well, Vanguards is going to be so much slower. I mean, pretty much every room is going to be, but I think Vanguards is going to be very notable. Let's put all that away. Let's withdraw all. Or maybe we shouldn't have. What am I looking at here? I don't know. Yeah, it's a little confusing now. Gotta get used to the old setup. Not new setup, the old setup. I think we're good now. We're probably gonna need... I don't know, do I just bring the same exact thing I used to? Hopefully we have enough. Hopefully we have enough supplies. You know, I did do some research on what I used to do, but I didn't look that closely, you know? Oh, you know what? I have no idea what my max hits are. No idea what the max hits are. They can't be very high though. I mean, the Fang's probably gonna hit like what, like a 40 something? 46. Okay. The staff is probably gonna hit also like a 40 something. Like mid 40s. Oh wait, why did I step out like that? Ooh! But yeah, as you can see, the mage damage is gonna be a problem here with my trident. No, I don't have charges in my trident. Well, alright, you know, transition to this right here. Well, we're back at Vanguards. I'm gonna heal up here. We're gonna start off with shooting the Bofa. I think I should have started off with the trident, actually, as my mage damage is the worst by far. Let's follow along the ranger, so we can melee it. I am going to be dumping Fang specs here because, like I said, no spec weapons. Oh, okay, there was a chance there that I may have reset the Vanguards there, but luckily we didn't hit too hard. I think before I realized we ran out of Trident charges, I was talking about max hits here, or just in the raid in general, and I'm not too sure what my max hits are. I think all the hits gotta be in like the 40s. I think the Bofa may be able to hit like a 51 or something. Or is that after the quiver? I don't know. I probably should have looked these things up before I started the raid, but you know what? We'll just find out in real time, right? But it can't be more than 50. Oh, you know what's really weird is I only have two glove switches for melee and range, and then the tormented bracelet for the mage. Okay, we gotta use these Fang specs more. For what it's worth, I think the second run through, at least on that floor 1, we were a little bit quicker than the first run. Oh my goodness, my defense is a lot lower too with this armor, so I'm getting absolutely slapped. Alright, the Vanguards will no longer reset unless they regen a billion health, but that's not gonna happen. A 42 max... Oh my. A 42 max hit on my Trident? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's it? Oh, I didn't have my Tormented Bracelet on. Okay, that was probably a couple max hits there. Oh, a 50 Bofa hit? Okay. The range hits don't matter too much. I need to know my melee and mage max hits for Ulm. A brew here. Please, it's too old. Thank you. I believe that's everything. Yep, okay. Alright, moving on into Thieving Room. Very exciting room here. We're gonna pick these grubs. Now, back then, the grubs were not stackable. So, I actually had to make the effort to run all the way to the chest. Clear my inventory out. And then start picking these grubs up. I'd have to dump my potions like this. And I even had to bank my my gear, both for the grub space and for run energy management. But I mean, that's a change now that we don't have to worry about. Yeah, this inventory management is not great with this setup with the 2 glove switches. 2 helmet switches too, actually. I didn't even point that out. Like, I didn't rock an ancestral hat or anything yet at this point. It makes these switches all janky. Alright, we're gonna go into private here. We're gonna need the pickaxe. The rune pickaxe, not even dragon. The salve amulet. 1 stamina for sure. We're gonna need that. Overload enhance. And, you know, recently I've been bringing 2 revits, but I have a feeling I'm gonna need quite a bit more than that. We're gonna bring 4, and I think even then 4 is not enough, but we'll rely on the prayer enhance when it comes down to it. Oh, we're gonna have to change our quick prayers here. Instead of redemption and augury, we're gonna have to do redemption and rigor. Oh no, we messed up here. We are on a timer now. I didn't do the proper entry. I think we'll be fine though. But yeah, I mentioned earlier about Vespula absolutely eating crystal charges, and you can see why right here. Every hit splat is crystal charges. Yeah, there's a good chance that I used to use like 6 or 7 restores here. Remember when crystal charges were glitched? Oh yeah, like even if you like didn't get hit, you would lose charges. Alright, by now we would have been probably halfway through the tightrope room, but we're still here. And it's actually starting to look a little bit sketch now. I think we'll be okay. No! Well, you know what? In the early days, I did die. Not, I wouldn't say frequently, but definitely more so than I do now. So you know what? You know, that was on purpose, you know, to recreate to recreate how it was, right. Although I definitely didn't die on Vespula. I would die at like other places like Mudadal or something. Okay, this run could be scuffed here, but hopefully not. It is very, very low, so hopefully I can run in there real quick and just one-tap it. Please. There we go. Ooh, okay. When you mess up Vespula like that, sometimes that could be the end of your run, but luckily, we salvaged it. No, so I used about 4 times more restores than I would if I was in max mage, so that's unfortunate right there. Another change throughout the years at Chambers is they did end up adding the overload and enhanced drop to a lot more places. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Vespula used to not drop an overload. It did drop an enhance, however. I think that was always the case. Okay, with the 4-tick weapon here, I don't think I actually need a step back. I think I just face tank these majors here. But yeah, that's right there. Unfortunate that it happened, but fortunate that it was not the end of the run, I suppose. We're not going to get the 62, 63,000 points that we're going to get, unfortunately. Even 64, depends how the Vaso goes. But, yeah, it is what it is. We'll continue the run. You know, this is the first raid, so we're just warming up. You know, right here, I'm trying to figure out what I'm even swapping to. Okay, not the torso. There's not really armor I can swap to, unfortunately. Typically, on these rangers, since they hit so hard, I swap to, like, some ranged tank armor, but I suppose in this setup, I don't really have ranged tank armor. I am, however, going to make sure I eat, because these rangers can hit as high as, like, a 43, I believe. Okay, I just realized I was stepping back there out of habit. That might have been bad for me, actually, trading a 1-to-1 hits with the Bofo when I don't need to. Anyways, that's tightrope complete. Alright, let's switch into our melee gear with the pickaxe. And okay, we're gonna have to figure out our inventory here. I want to say I banked my mage armor entirely. I think I did. I think I banked my range gear entirely. I did, however, keep the Fang on me, and then... Like, I may have kept the Trident on me, I'm not sure. Did I? I don't think so. I think I Bofa'd everything. Alright, we are going to want the salve and the... I think we can get away with not bringing the stamina now, so I'm going to sip that as I normally do. Bank that. And then... We're definitely going to need more brews. So I'm going to do that. Alright, and we're still going to have inventory space. You know what? Maybe another revet for good measure. We have the inventory space. Why not? Why not? Again, I don't know how much I need here, so... What's the herbal requirement for solo Cox? 78. But if you want to be more lax and make sure like you can do any chambers layout and you prep your own overloads, that's going to be 90. But for the most part, 78. Highly recommended to be 78 anyways. And then 90 just gives you all the options in the world. Warlow, you missed it. I actually did plank. This is actually the second raid right now. The first one, I made it to Vanguards, and I realized I didn't have charges in my Trident. Which, in my defense, I can't remember the last time I used a Trident, so... And then on this second run through now, I think I was just so bamboozled that Vespula took so long in my scuffed gear, you know, I died. It is what it is, though. Like, sometimes when you die at Vespula, that's just a full reset. But luckily, we didn't have to full reset. But yeah, currently we are using some very, very scuffed gear. We got our rune pickaxe, fighter torso. Pretend these blood moon tassets are actually Bandos tassets, because that's what I had back then. And the dragon boots are actually a downgrade. I did have primordials at this point. The Avernic is an upgrade, however, so I guess that's a trade-off right there. I wasn't about to go farm another Dragon Defender. This is very offensive to your 200 mil GP budget. Is my setup under 200 mil? Surely it is, right? I think my setup is unironically below 200 mil. Well, I guess that's why it's offensive, right? Because this is your best in slot game. It's like, what do you mean my max gear is your budget scuffed run? Hey, you know what? I never did this, but I think in another run, we're gonna do a Elite Void run and see how that goes. I'm probably gonna get absolutely shredded. Everything's gonna slap me. But I am curious to see how that's gonna go. Alright, we are gonna be employing new technology here. Well, new is relative, right? But we're pretending like we are doing this back in 2023. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to instantly run in. We're going to run to this green tile we marked here. Stand there for a tick. Run back. And this right here is the Vasa teleport skip. That's actually the only the second time ever we've done that, so pretty impressive. I'm gonna pat myself on the back on that one. My Bofa is on accurate, and I'm currently wondering how long that's been the case. Hmm. Oh, Summoner Thrall. Moving on, moving on. Our Bofa is now on Rapid, so we're fine. You know, without bringing the mage setup, I really forgot just how much room you have. Like, I have what, 8, 9. We have 10 broods in our inventory, and we're about to get 2 more from Vasa. But this is how the runs used to go. And pretty accurate right here. We are dealing with a Vasa teleport. If I recall correctly, back then I was lucky if I didn't get teleported 3 times. Or at least twice. I think twice was like the minimum. If I got anything less than 2 teleports, my Bofa was going absolutely nuclear. But also, these days they did make Vasa a little bit easier. I think the crystals are easier to hit. Vasa is not as tanky. And the run energy change, obviously a huge factor here. I would have had to bring a stamina pot otherwise. Okay, moving on to Mystics. We are gonna range Mystics with the Salve on. We haven't done this in forever, not since the Shadow, so... This is also a massive, massive throwback. The room plays out exactly the same, though. You know, you find your safe spots. You'll lure them to them. You know, I wish I didn't die just so I knew what kind of time I was gonna get. But I guess we'll find out in the other raids. The next gear setup isn't going to include too many upgrades, I don't think. We can check after this raid. Everything hurts. There was a time when I calculated how many trident charges I used per run, how many crystal charges, and all the runes and whatnot. I don't have that information down anywhere anymore, unfortunately. I do wish I saved it somewhere though. That would have been good to know for these runs. But who knew that 2 years later, after possessing max gear, I'd be willingly doing these scuffed runs again? You know? Who knew? Looking at the time right now, though, 33 minutes we're working on Mystics. I feel like this sounds about right, honestly. If not a little bit slower because we did die. But if you account for how the raid was just naturally slower back then due to boss health and defense and like run energy changes and all that, I think maybe it evens out a little bit between that death and all that. Another huge change was that I had an extra inventory available to me, as there's an axe available in this room now. That used to be not the case. Oh, I still have my salve on. Let's get our anguish on. Okay, so I do believe fanging the Muddadile, the baby Muddadile, was better. I don't know. No, I get the impression that I used to do this, so I'm gonna do it. Dump some of our fang specs, because, you know, we don't have spec for anything else. Alright. Baby doll is done with. Also, we are spending much more time figuring out our inventory. Like, whenever we hit the chest, we're like, what are we looking at? You know, that was definitely not the case back then. We were accustomed to whatever gear we had, but now we're trying to work backwards here and figure things out. You know, Muddadile is much more humble these days now. As I say, as I still might get chomped. But I say that because, see right there, mage attack, it's gonna do 2 more mage attacks, guaranteed. Good luck with the grind today, appreciate it. So that's the 2nd mage attack, and then 1 more, I believe. And we're gonna switch back to range here. Nice. See, it's a little bit more predictable now, whereas before it was completely random. Alright, surely we have enough supplies, right? Let's pick up all of this, though. And let's get ready for Ohm. Yeah, I think the death we had balanced out the timing of all the changes that naturally sped up this raid, because 35 minutes, 36 minutes heading into Ohm, if we do like a 12 to 14 minute Ohm, yeah, they'll end up being about like high 40s, low 50s in terms of the time to complete this raid. Alright, let's drop a brew and restore on the ground, and let's take our time here and actually make sure we bring everything we need. So this fang we're no longer going to need. We do want the lance though. We want, in fact, let's slap on our mail. Oh, okay, I tried to shift click there. Can't shift click in the chamber's storages. Okay, we don't need the fang. We don't need the Bofa, actually. We did bring the Dragon Hunter crossbow. We have Ruby Dragon Bolts equipped. I believe I used to not bring the crystal helmet, so we're gonna bring that. Or not bring that, rather. This is a mess right now. Okay, mage gear. Actually, we want our mage gear here at the top, because we're not going to be switching into our range gear until the very end. These switchers are so uneven. Okay. Oh, definitely have the lance, right? Definitely have the lance. Okay, overload, enhance. These days I bring 2 revits, but I have a feeling I'm going to need that third one, so I'm going to bring that third one. And we have 7 brews. That sounds good, right? All right. Overload, enhance. I think there was a point in time where I even dropped the task seats, like I'd bank the task seats and bring another brew, but you know what? I have confidence that I don't need it. Surely I don't regret that decision. Into Ohm we go. Do I have to drop anything? I might need to drop something. No, actually, I think we're good. I didn't forget anything, did I? Alright, this is gonna be weird. I'm gonna be 3-0ing Mage Hand, and I'm gonna be 4-1ing. Oh, see, I already messed up. I got into the habit of the shadow running. Alright. It's coming back to me. Oh, you know what? This is very weird. A few months ago, they made this change where you can actually run and attack now. I'm speaking purely visually here. People that have been playing the game for a while will know what I'm talking about. Your character looks like it gets dragged. Like it'll do the staff attack first and then do a run animation that catches up to where your character should be. But now it's like one smooth thing. Your character attacks and moves at the same time. And it's actually throwing me off a little bit here. But I think we have the timing down. 3-0 Mage Hand. You know what? This is a lot of fun. I do miss doing this sometimes. It's like oddly satisfying. But oh my goodness, is this slow compared to using Max Mage? Shocker, I know. Okay, Mage Hand done. We are using a light bear, so we have plenty of spec. Do I remember how to 4-1? Okay, that came out. What do I do? I think I 1-0, right? Oh, I messed up. Okay, it did 2 autos. What do I do with 2 autos? Oh, I'm not even in cycle. I'm losing a tick somewhere, I think. Okay, now we're in cycle. I lost a tick, I think. Oh no. Alright, you know, we were probably in cycle for like 10% of that entire melee hand, but a 3-minute P1? Oh my goodness. Hey, we only used 1 revitalization dose, though. Okay, we are taking stupid damage here. Oh my, I keep thinking I'm about to go 8-1 or whatever, or even 12-0. Oh, we didn't summon our thrall. Let's get that going. Thrall very important for these. Oh boy, a 44 max hit. For reference, the max mage max hit is 75. So this 3-0 method we're doing right now, we are doing it optimally to where we are saving run energy. There's actually a lot of tiles that you can run, so we run 1 tile, walk 2 tiles, attack, and we can walk all the way to the ring finger. Again, with the availability of the light bear, I am just going to spec twice here. Alright, let's see if we can actually get into cycle this time. Oh, you know what? I just realized what I'm doing wrong. Whenever I do the 3-to-1 scythe method, when I run to the center tile, I have to burn an extra tick. But in the 4-to-1, I don't have to. Okay, good thing I realized that. So I'll try to recreate what I'm talking about here. Or mention it when I get to it. So right here, after this attack, I run to the middle, but I have to instantly run back. That's where I'm losing the tick. Okay, that did auto attack twice there though, so I'm gonna have to... Okay, I did it again. No, the habit. The habit. Okay, I see what I'm doing wrong. Alright, here we go again. Okay, when lightning comes out, I have to 3-to-1 twice? No, I did it again! Somebody help. I did it again. Now, we have plenty of raids to get used to it because... I mean, it was like, what, like 900 solo CMs until I got a scythe, so... You know what, guys? It's time to make a hardcore and rush chambers and just camp chambers because as a solo hardcore, it's a safe death. But then once I farm 10 billion chambers, I can flex that I'm a hardcore with a T-bow or something. But I really could do chambers in super, super scuffed gear. We'll go to Perilous Moons and bust out all the moons gear. Well, 3-to-1 with a zombie axe. That honestly sounds terrible. World Scythe, World Zombie Axe. Okay, we are on P3 here, so let's not yap too much and accidentally reset the hand. Although it's much less likely in gear like this, right? Okay, let's see for the 3rd time if we can get into sight. I think I just lost a tick. Okay, instantly run back. Yep. Okay, it did attack twice though, so 3-1. I believe one time. Yep. Now we're in cycle. Instantly run back. There we go. Oh, you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna go back to using my sights and I'm gonna forget to burn an extra tick. Brew. I'm gonna grab some coffee. Sounds good. I'm actually sipping on some right now myself. Nope. Yeah, done goofed. Okay. All right, P3. Oh, this is not good. No. Don't kill it. Don't kill it. All right. All right, this was a frequent thing, to be fair, where I just was unable to do enough damage on the hands and they would reset, so... I definitely had a lot of frustrations with this. So honestly, it's very accurate. You know, we had to spec, so... Let's spec twice. You know what? Despite the mage hand resetting, we are in very good shape right now with our supplies, so... Let's just focus up. I burned a tick again, as if I was using a sight. Man, it's just... We're getting punished by our habits right now. What we're accustomed to. Like, I know how to do this, obviously, but man, it's just so hard to break old habits when you've done them for... like, hundreds of raids. Humble 0. I misclicked. Alright, let's not reset that hand. We do have to mage run now. Tiki! The crazy Tiki! Now run back over! Ooh! Actually, I don't even know if that was a Tiki. That had to be, right? Alright, right here we're gonna unequip our defender. I'm gonna keep the dragon boots on just for a little bit of defense. It's negative range attack there too, but... What a way to start off this series, right? The most scuffed solo CM run. I guess it's true to form. It's true to form. Alright, the pools did come out. We're going to ignore that in favor of staying in cycle. Now, if I could get some ruby procs right about now, that'd be great. Alright, we're taking a lot of damage here, so we're going to transition over into... Ooh. 2-0. I don't think we've gotten a single ruby. I brought the right bolts, right? I brought the right bolts. But yeah, you know what? This is exactly how it was. It was incredibly frustrating when I did not get any ruby procs. In fact, right now I am using ruby dragon bolts, but I'd sometimes use regular rubies as well. It just depended on our supplies at the time. I often did have to revert into 2 to 0ing the head phase rather than 4 to 1ing because of situations like this. Oh, now we get a ruby proc. A whopping 5. Okay. The game's trolling. That should be it. No way we're gonna get a purple? Never mind. Alright, 54,600 points. We did die at Vespula. And actually, these days, the raid does eke out a little bit more points than it used to. I believe rooms like Ice Demon and Thieving just give you more points by default now than it used to. We did get a Dark Relic. We're just going to chuck that in Herblore. It honestly doesn't really matter on this account. We're maxed. But any EXP lamp, I've always just chucked it into Herblore. We got 140 Grimy Avanto out of that, other than the EXP lamp. Alright, that is the first raid completed. This setup, with a few exceptions like the Avernic instead of the Dragon Defender, actually downgraded Dragon Boots. I did have Primordials at the time. These Blood Moon Tassies were basically Bandos Tassies. Everything else was mostly the same. Aside from like Fang Kit, you know, Dragon Hunter Crossbow Kit, the max variants of the capes, everything else was the same. That was exactly how I did my first ever solo CM. I actually have the exact date right here. June 17th, 2023.